Alrighty, everybody. We are about to revisit someone we have not covered on this channel in a long time. One of my favorite grifters on the entire platform. And we all know she's a grifter because since the start and inception of her YouTube channel, she has been desperate for views in some of the most shameless ways you can possibly imagine. We're talking about Arielle Scarcella, who nowadays spends, just all her time uploading. I think she has OnlyFans now. I think she started doing OnlyFans for extra money, but most of her videos now are just shitting on trans people and doing like anti-left-wing, I left the left and now I'm a conservative videos. But back in the day, for those that don't know, she's a lesbian. This is relevant as you'll find out in a second. What she used to do for her grift to get her money and her clicks on YouTube were clickbait sex videos. I've just sorted to the most popular videos on Arielle Scarcella's entire channel. These are all videos made by lesbians for horny 13-year-old boys, okay? Stop doing this to women in bed, two women in the thumbnail. Transgender woman shows lesbian her vagina, and it's like very sexualized thumbnail. Gay guy shows lesbian his penis. Straight girls explain penetration versus oral. Like, it's framed as sex ed, but it's, like, very much meant to get, like, weirdly sexually, like, repressed hormonal teenagers to click on it, as they very much did in mass, as you can see. Do you really think 23 million lesbians watched this video to find out what they should stop doing to women in bed? Do you think that's where this 23 million views came from? 23 million lesbians watched this to learn what they should stop doing to women in bed. No. I'm gonna guess about 20 million of these views at least are from men. At least 20 million. It's very... Okay, well, here we go with this thumbnail. This is like... I mean, frankly, if you got rid of the thumbnail text here, like, this looks like it could be, like, the thumbnail on a Pornhub video, you know? Just a lotta. Just a lotta is really all I have to say. Just a lotta. This is back before she was, like, anti-trans or whatever, talking about, like, being pro-body positivity as a trans person. Yeah, it was very... She's actually taken a lot of her videos. Oh, no, it still goes on. Like, can you see what I'm talking about here? Like, this content has always been, like, bottom of the barrel... Jesus Christ. Has always been, like, bottom of the barrel grift shit. Everything has always been a desperate vie for maximum viewership. No genuine, like, sincerity or value to any of it. Just horny clickbait. Chat, tell me if I'm off base on this. This is like Yuri manga written and made for men. God, that was a nerdy tie-in. But, like, you guys get what I mean, right? Like, this is not a false read of her content. She has adapted the grift nowadays to, she does, like, the horny posting shit on OnlyFans. And then, of course, she does the right-wing, anti-trans, far-right grift content. Like, lefty has left the left, lesbian leaves the left content on her YouTube channel. To sort of maximize both grifts that she's sort of grown accustomed to. I knew about her at age 13. It was too obvious clickbait for me to watch. Yeah, same. She was really big all over YouTube back then. There was this stint of time on YouTube back in, like, 2011 where, like, I'd be watching a f***ing Yogscast video and there would be full-on nudity in the thumbnails of videos in the recommended. It was a big problem on YouTube back in, like, 2011. Just full-on nudity and thumbnails being recommended on the top sidebar, and you just couldn't get rid of it. There was no mechanism to get rid of it other than full screening the video. And it was just like, I'm 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, trying to watch a Minecraft video. There is a porn thumbnail on the side of YouTube there. If my mom walks in, I'm just innocently watching Minecraft. I just don't want that to be there, right? But it is a full-on porn thumbnail. There's nudity in the thumbnail. That shit was a big problem for, like, a stint of time on YouTube for, like, a while. And, like, I think it was 2011, like, early to late 2011, or late 2010 to early 2011, sorry. Philip DeFranco got big partially off of the clickbait. Yeah. He did a lot of booba posting for his thumbnails. He's proud of it, yeah. Porn was banned from YouTube in 2013. Hey, chat. If you think that's true, go on YouTube right now and look up naked yoga. Just type in naked yoga, press enter on YouTube. Anyway, Arielle Scarcella put out a new video 4 days ago. It's got 48,000 views. Her channel's really falling off for her sub count, by the way. This is not a grift that's going to successfully carry her channel back into relevance. It's just slowly dying. I'll be the first trans woman to have an abortion, quote. Transgender toxicity is the name of the video. This is like a series she does called Transgender Toxicity, where she talks about like these toxic transes or whatever. All right, let's check it out.
Am I missing something? Is this how girls take photos of themselves in the bathroom now with their leg up? I mean...
Yes. Yes. Way to reveal you get 0 bitches. Because, yeah, when I was in high school, it was the bathroom counter sit. You guys know the one, right? Where, like a girl would basically, like, kind of, like, sit her butt up against the bathroom counter and like turn a little backwards so her ass was being like pushed up and perked up by the counter. That was really popular, like when I was 18. And then now the leg up on the counter is the new girl pose. Like that's how women pose for their thirst trap photos now. Trans women and cis women. Xan knows the tricks. It's just, you know, it's just what it is.
I don't know anyone that does that. Am I just getting old, or are these people extremely ballsy? You know the joke was coming. It had to come. Toxic masculinity is something that I have yet...
LGBT damage control is what she calls this segment. Jesus Christ.
...to touch on, quite possibly because I've never wanted to touch any of it. Lesbian joke, haha. But just because I don't want to have sex with...
I will admit, she probably knows more about lesbians than I do. You know, I will say, okay, listen. One upside of dating Lonnie was that she had been in like several long-term like lesbian relationships, and so she knew like the lingo and the culture memes. And I learned about something called U-Haul lesbians from her that like lives in my head rent-free. Apparently the idea is that like lesbians will go on 3 dates, rent a U-Haul truck, and move in together. Didn't know what that was until I dated Lonnie, and she told me about that. Yeah.
With men doesn't mean that men or masculinity is evil. And of course, where there is toxic masculinity, there is also toxic femininity.
Lie, lie, lie. I'm So, what is your gender? Hey, lady, hey, sassy lady. Where that butt going? Lady. Come here, little girl. I'm gonna shit all over that little girl, you whore. You whore.
Calling someone a whore and screaming at them because they misgendered you is toxic.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Is it another one of these things? Is it another one of those it's ma'am GameStop video things again? Alright, so for those of you guys that don't know, you should know this by now, especially if you're trans. The right doesn't have any arguments against, like, you deserving rights. So instead, they try to suggest that, like, you shouldn't be taken seriously, and you're bad people. That is the right's main method of convincing normies that trans people shouldn't have rights. And so instead of having any real arguments or data or any evidence to back up what they believe, they instead create stereotypes out of minority groups. The more into right-wing spheres that you get, you'll find a lot of black, like, racist, like, black stereotypes sort of coagulated into like a minstrel show character you'll see like thrown around in random like 4chan far right spheres, and that's like basically what the right does to trans people in a more broad sense, because like the way that they shit on trans people is less outward, you know, less overwhelmingly socially stigmatized than the shit that 4chaners do around race online. So essentially, what ends up happening is you get videos like, yeah, this video is, I believe, like 6 years old at this point. It is still brought up constantly as a gotcha against trans people. I'm sorry to those of you who have seen this before that have to watch it again. Those of you who have never seen it, unfortunately, you're gonna have to witness it because you're gonna see a conservative use it eventually, and it's nice to know the context, I guess, but gotta remember the discourse around this. Oh yeah. And right-wingers have, like, this person is forever an argument against trans rights now. Right-wingers will never let this video go. It'll never go away. You'll never hear the end of it. The same goes for like the glasses red shirt triggered lady and the screaming like glasses lady on the Trump election and like Trigglypuff. That'll never go away.
You're gonna give me my fucking money back.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here. And you're watching
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay?
Both of you guys?
Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was a general.
Right beforehand, you fucking said sir.
Sir? Okay.
Motherfucker, take it outside if you want to call me
The video's not fake.
sir again. I will show you a fucking sir.
I apologize.
Motherfucker.
I apologize now.
All right. So this is totally not. It's not. I'm sorry. It's not. It's not though. But it's not. That was real. Guys. This was before ops like this were a thing. Like this video went viral and was part of the original like explosion of anti-trans hate online. This was like one of the inciting, like this was not, there was no reason to do an op like this back then. This is like a known video too. If it was fake, it would have come out. That person would have been identified as like some right-wing like pundit by now. How does anyone know it's not an op? It is mega sus. Guys, all right. This is something I think you all need to accept in order to fight against the right, okay? We have to talk about cringe. Cringe is a powerful emotion. It's an extremely powerful emotion. People will build their entire lives around not feeling cringe. It's true. They really, really will. Okay? If you can instill cringe in an audience towards a group of people, you have instilled a powerful negative emotion in an audience against that group of people. Because as much as I dislike ContraPoints these days, her old video on cringe does a very good job of elaborating on the point I'm about to make. But I'm going to consolidate the argument, I think, fairly well. Cringe is a very powerful and memorable, hard to shake, hard to overcome negative emotion. If when you think about trans people, your first connotation, your first exposure is a video like that, it is going to have a powerful, powerful effect on the likelihood of that person developing negative opinions on trans people going forward. Which is why conservatives ensure that if you're some Zoomer online, on the internet, they want the first trans person you ever interact with or ever see anything from to be a video like that. Now, here's the thing. There are tons of ops. The more extreme scenarios do tend to be ops that the right pulls, like pretending to be trans people doing a horrible thing to back up their propaganda. But once in a blue moon, it's real. The existence of Chris Chan, for example, is just a good example. There's no other way to put it. Chris Chan is every negative stereotype about trans people made up by the right, but in a real person. Chris Chan is a trans woman who... I'm just going to explain this entire take, and you guys can decide whether or not the whole encompassing description is problematic or not. Chris Chan is a trans woman who does not pass particularly well, who has a history of sexual predation, who has outright said that she is only transitioning and becoming a woman in order to get with lesbian cis women because her goal is to get a boyfriend-free girl, and she feels as though the market needs to be opened up to lesbians now. It is only to have sex with lesbians, and she has admitted as much. She is extremely problematic and bigoted in regards to women's rights, and does not see women as people or worthy of equal respect or anything like that, and is only using the air of trans progressivism to like basically shield from that reality, and unfortunately unironically transmaxing, and also she just got out of a jail sentence for raping her elderly dementia-ridden mother. That is a person who is literally every negative thing the right makes about trans people and presents to the public as like an argument, accurate or not, to make people averse to trans people just from the get-go. Chris Chan is that as a person, just outright. I'm surprised at how few of you even knew that part, by the way. It's why so many people, even on the left, don't really feel comfortable using she, her pronouns for Chris Chan, because Chris Chan has admitted that she doesn't have gender dysphoria and is only transitioning to get a boyfriend-free girl. And I'm direct quoting, by the way. Boyfriend-free girl is the Chris Chan quote that is, like, famous and is always repeated. That is the quest for a boyfriend-free girl. Trust me, guys. Just don't... Just trust me, please. Just trust me. With that said, when people like that exist, you have to be willing to say, yeah, no. When you have a large minority group with millions of people in it, some percentage of them are going to be awful weirdos. Some of them are going to be rapists. Some will be pedophiles, murderers, thieves. Go down the list of awful abusers. Go down the list of awful things you can be. There are going to be plenty of people like that in the sphere. Hell, I'd argue that because trans people are so especially disenfranchised and marginalized and forced into these online communities in which they live in insular little echo chambers where they have, like, very conditional support, it actually leads to more reinforcement of abusive and sometimes more victim-based behavior, right? I find that it ends up resulting in these spheres getting created where there's, like, one or two big people at the, like, forefront of, like, these trans echo chamber spaces that are, like, awful f***ing abusers, but they're also, like, narcissistic megalomaniacs who are really good at like, gathering a group of people who build a dependent, like, friend group on them and make that being in that friend group conditional to, like, keeping the people in charge happy or something. You see that stuff a lot on Twitter in trans spaces. It's really toxic and it's rife for abuse. It's like Discord communities and stuff. Yeah, and there was a mass shooter who was trans recently. Like the right, like I know, like, people, like, there are going to be cases where trans people are going to do bad stuff and the right are going to say, here are examples of what the trans community does. And at the end of the day, the only response you can really have to any of this stuff is just like, why the f*** are you just showing videos of, like, a random examples of people part of a minority group doing cringy stuff? Like, sure, yeah, there's some cringy people that are part of the minority group. That does not make the whole minority group bad. And then, of course, she's got her, like, vitamin supplement sponsorship she throws in here for the grift later into the video. Like, these videos are literally all just... Or maybe that might not be a sponsored segment. Is that a sponsored segment?
He loves to demonize heterosexual men.
Okay, maybe not. That might just be, like, testosterone or something. Never mind. I don't know what hormones look like. I have offered to pay for the hormone replacement therapy of a friend of mine, but they haven't taken that offer. It's not that expensive. It's actually, like, not... I mean, like, for me to make a friend's problem dealt with, it's not that expensive, you know? It's like a couple $100, and it's like, you're settled for months and months and months, you know? Anyway, basically, Arielle Scarcella's whole grift is to basically just show videos of, like, person who is part of a minority group did a cringe thing. Your opinion on the entire minority group should be dictated by your opinion on this one person. And it's like, okay... This is very obvious. Like, I'm glad that this form of the grift isn't as successful anymore. Like, there is still a lot of transphobia grifters online that are very successful and doing well for themselves, but I'm glad to say that this form of content is kind of dying out, because I think a lot of people who this content is aimed at don't particularly find the idea that one person did a cringy thing, and that should apply to the entire minority group they're a part of, a very compelling argument. Just on a core level. Also, I got my incense here. Very good incense, by the way. I bought it from a dispensary. Apparently, the place to go to get the good incense is from a dispensary. I set it on fire too much. There we go. Well, yeah, it's to cover up the smell of weed. Well, it's a legal state, guys. Like, it's legal to smoke weed here, so it doesn't really make sense for stoners to be worried about it. But I guess you wouldn't want, like, maybe you wouldn't want a family member to know you smoke weed, but yeah. This is what I need after, like, a long bout of debunking right-wing grifters who are extremely overpaid to spread hate speech all day on these platforms that claim they're against said hate speech. Just gotta get a nice whiff of the incense to cleanse myself.